This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Shouldn't skipping to payday be as easy as skipping to the next song? Introducing MyPay from Chime. Get up to $500 of your pay before payday. Get paid when you save with MyPay. Start at Chime.com. Eligibility requirements apply. Credit limits range from $20 to $500. Provided by the Bank or Bank N.A. and Stride Bank N.A.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. Vulnerability by Catherine of commonsenseliving.ca. Vulnerability. Susceptible to physical harm or damage. Susceptible to emotional injury, especially in being easily hurt. Susceptible to attack. Open to censure or criticism. Assailable. Vulnerability, as you can see, can be defined in many different ways. However, there is a common theme: the possibility of pain. The term vulnerability is a loaded term that, oddly enough, a lot of people are scared of using, and even more scared of being. Being vulnerable means that you have your guard down, in a sense, and have a bigger possibility of being hurt, physically or emotionally. But what if vulnerability could be associated with strength? I don't know about you, but a lot of the stories of heartbreak I have heard have come from the fear of being vulnerable. In love, as in a lot of things in life, being our true selves is frowned upon. Why? Because we are naturally flawed. Being flawed is okay, but it becomes unhealthy when you are trying to hide away all the parts of yourself that make you the person that you are. When you choose to be in a relationship with someone, a lot of the time you intend to spend the rest of your life with them. We all have this common goal of finding our better half, our soulmate, someone to connect with. So, why is it so hard for us to open up? Relationships start off all rosy most of the time because two people are starting to get to know each other, which involves a certain degree of vulnerability. However, as the relationship goes on, someone may feel that their partner may not like their dark side, the side that doesn't always feel like going out or being social, or who just feels down a lot of the time. In an effort to hide away their true selves, they start to distance themselves from their partner. This could lead to feelings of resentment and even confusion from the other end, leading their partner to believe they did something wrong. In not being open about the discussion to tackle the fear of openness, relationships can inevitably fall apart, and it has happened time and time again. However, I have realized that the strongest relationships are the ones where both partners are vulnerable. The truth is, everyone is not going to like you, but it is important to find the ones who do. In order to do this, you must be your true self. Vulnerability provides us the freedom of not having to overthink everything we say or do. It allows us to share our message with the world in the most genuine way possible. Vulnerability allows us to live fully, as it should be lived, and not get inside our own head and overthink everything. Vulnerability also helps us build deeper connections with others through the telling of our own personal stories. Quote, "Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light." End quote. That's from Brené Brown. As Brené Brown mentions in her article, Own Your History, Change the Story, there is courage in being able to own our stories instead of denying them. As many of you know, I have an Instagram account called Common Sense Living, where I share my own personal anecdotes and life stories, and share lessons I have learned along my life's journey. However, this whole idea came from embracing vulnerability. In order to tell our stories honestly, we cannot leave out the details. I'm not the best storyteller, since I tend to get caught up in the details of the situation before getting to my main point. However, I tell my stories the way that I want, and in doing so, I make myself vulnerable to criticism. But I find the more we practice being vulnerable, the easier it gets. In sharing our stories, it encourages others to also be vulnerable enough to share their own. In being vulnerable ourselves, we create a safe space for others to share their hardships, and in doing so, a space of connection. I am so grateful to be part of such a positive community on Instagram, a place that a lot of people find toxic. The reason why is because a lot of the people within this community do not hide away from who they truly are. People have asked me if I ever received criticism, and the truth is, I haven't. After all, what is there to criticize if I'm telling my own story? My life experience is not the same as others, and that is what makes it beautiful. Our stories are worth sharing, and everyone's story is different. Vulnerability allows us to truly give a platform to our pain and happiness, and allow others to connect with us and to connect with themselves. In the end, vulnerability is not just weakness. Moreover, vulnerability is strength. We must change the way that we choose to view this word and not let it get in the way of how we live our lives. You just listened to the post titled Vulnerability by Catherine of commonsenseliving.ca.
Introducing My Pay from Chime, a revolutionary new way to get paid. Let's say new dates to your favorite band's sold-out tour drop Tuesday, but you get paid Friday. Life doesn't wait for payday. With My Pay from Chime, you can get up to $500 of your pay before payday. No interest, no credit check, no mandatory fees. My Pay. Get paid when you say. Start at Chime.com. Eligibility requirements apply. Credit limits range from $20 to $500. $2 fee to get funds instantly. Provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. and Stride Bank N.A.
It's Croctober, the official celebration of Crocs fans like you. So whether you like to rock your classic clogs, get cozy and fuss-lined, personalize with your favorite Jibbitz charms, or even, dress up like a clog for Halloween, it's time to tell your story and share your style. Join the Croctober celebration with Crocs fans around the world. Go to Crocs.com to discover the range of shoes and find a pair that's iconic like you. Crocs, celebrating you all month long.
This episode is brought to you by Rakuten. If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Samsung, Expedia, and Sephora. And even stack sales on top of cash back. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten.
Catherine is a blogger and founder of Common Sense Living. She enjoys cooking, reading, and has recently rediscovered a love for writing, which inspired her to start Common Sense Living. And it looks to me like she's learned some wonderful lessons, because it's a great post today about vulnerability. Surely the isolation involved in being vulnerable is part of what prevents many of us from engaging in it. The concern over revealing certain parts of ourselves that may be uncomfortable and cause us to be ostracized or taken advantage of. But my favorite part of this post, and one of my favorite parts of being vulnerable as a whole, is the fact that when we are vulnerable, we encourage others to do the same, and it's a desire we all have in spite of how suppressed it might have become. So not only do we get a chance to express ourselves in a healthy and necessary way, but we grant others the comfort that helps them to do the same. It really is beneficial for everyone, even though it may not always seem that way. And with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to the end, and thank you just for being you. I will see you all tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.